My nose has decided to be drippy today, so we'll see how that goes. But hi everyone, here's the Rollback Retrofit Kit team. I'm Joel, my co-presenter is Ellis. Today we're presenting on an update on what we've done since Design Review 1. Just a refresher for you, that's our trailer right there. The goal of our kit is to overcome these limitations here, mainly with the ability to use the trailer in rough surfaces, slick surfaces, on inclined ground, and it is very time-consuming for a single user to use. So with that, we've had these constraints of making the trailer fully automated. We want it to be easiest to install, no welding with that. We want it to be remote controlled. We're making it remote controlled, and it will be overridden so that if a part on the kit breaks, we can just revert to its original functionality. And we want it to end up being faster than the original time of 60 seconds to go from roll up to roll back position, and vice versa. There's three main mechanisms in this kit: tongue pin mechanism, deck pin mechanism, and deck movement mechanism. I will cover the tongue pin mechanism and deck pin mechanism a little bit in the next slide. Else we'll go into greater detail on the deck movement mechanism. So, as you can see here, on the top right, we've got the tongue pin mechanism. That was the focus of last semester. You've got that completed, that's all out of the way. Down below, that is our deck pin mechanism. That was our prototype as of the last presentation. We were slightly behind, but mostly on track to get that done. Right after the presentation, we were just waiting for some parts to come in, and we were going to assemble it. So we were basically on track at that point. We're feeling good. And then we had a learning experience happen for us, which caused the deck pin mechanism to become a milestone 2.5. So what happened? We had two designs here. We had the linear actuator, and we had the scissor mechanism. We had decided the big deciding factor for the scissor mechanism. We were doing that because it did not create a bending moment on the pin. And that was really important to us because the pin had already been bent just under normal use. We didn't want that to continue to happen. So we chose that scissor mechanism based on that criteria primarily. Some of the metrics related to this deck pin mechanism, we wanted it to operate within 15 seconds, either out or back in. It needed to handle a 30-pound load. That was what was based on the spring. And additionally, we wanted safety factor 3, so it needed to be able to handle a 90-pound load. So going through this on the top right, that was our prototype as of that design review. We went through, started testing things. We found the biggest thing is it didn't meet our metric of 15 seconds. It took closer to 20 seconds to operate. Additionally, it had issues with clearance with the motor on the tires. And it also, the arms also rotated when you applied the load to it, so that it didn't fully extract the pin. The combination of those three, with the extension, with the arms rotating, we tried to address it with the little gears on the mechanism you can see on the bottom right. Still didn't keep them from rotating. So to do that with these issues, we decided to revert back to the linear actuator design. I'll cover that in a moment. But what we did to try to address this issue, we split up into two teams, two sub-teams with it. We had 3 people continue working on the deck mechanism, bring that new design, while we had the other half of the team move on to the deck movement mechanism. And Alice will cover that a little bit.
I'm not sure I understand. What exactly is twisting?
Let me go back. So basically, the scissor jack should just pull straight out. What happens is that this starts to rotate on it. It starts pushing to the side instead of pushing straight out. So what we try to do is these ears right here, it's a little hard in this photo, but put these ears on here and try to surround the pin a little bit more. We try to keep it from rotating, but that still didn't fully limit it, and it essentially didn't pull the pin all the way out, didn't extract from the deck, and it wouldn't allow the deck to move.
A regular scissor jack has ears that we didn't realize were there. It has these little gears between the arms that interact. We didn't realize that, so we got done on ours. It was just kind of floppy.
So it was, again, this is a learning experience for us. That's what we're going through. So what we did, we rapidly prototyped, as you can see on the bottom left here, rapidly prototyped that hook to be able to use with the linear actuator. That took about 45 minutes. We more or less zip tied a linear actuator to the cup, put that hook on there, tested it. Within that 45 minutes of fabrication, we had something working better than what we had with the month of work we had put into the scissor mechanism. This particular hook mechanism only took 8 seconds to release the pin, which is half of our metric, which we went, this is awesome, this is working a lot better than what we had before, this is the idea we pursued. As we started to refine stuff, we created this actuator spacer here. Currently it's 3D printed. We're looking to see if We're going to do some testing to see if that 3D printing is going to be strong enough or if we're going to need to machine something else out. But we did that to allow the actuator to travel instead of at an angle, the way the cup is designed. We wanted to travel parallel with the pin so that we don't have that bending moment. And then we have, this is our refined hook system here. This is laser cut out of 8-inch steel. We then bent it. There's 4 pieces there. We bent the main piece and then it's slotted and tapped like other pieces go in. It's a lot easier to build than what we had before. So we took that. We were originally going to try to clamp the actuator spacer to the cup. But as you can see here, there's some clearance issues. That's the fender right there. We can't really put that in there to clamp. So what we're going to do is use band clamps, similar to Zip History, but more durable metal band clamps to go around it. And that is reflected in our final CAD assembly for the design there. We're working on getting that 3D printed, and that should be good for that. So as far as we can tell, we've caught up. We've had to try to finagle our schedule a little bit. It's odd because we got the first prototype done on time, but we've had setbacks with it, so we've moved the revised dates to reflect that. We've met those revised dates or done better than those revised dates, and we feel we're caught up and we're ready to keep working on the deck movement mechanism and everything else. I will now turn the time over to Alice to discuss the deck movement mechanism.
We can come back to that if you guys have more questions. We get to the end. So with the deck movement mechanism, again, here are the dates that we set forth for ourselves for the conceptual design, design model, fabrication, and prototype testing. We hit all those with the exception of the design model. We were off by a day just due to different team members being out of town. And so we did pretty well throughout this. The other half of the team is working on this section. So reiterating quickly, slippery surfaces, loose surfaces, inclined planes, and jackknife positions, the trailer does not function very well. If we could, however, build a design and drive system that would move the axles with respect to the trailer deck, rather than the tow vehicle and trailer deck with respect to the axles, it will eliminate problems with the jackknife position. It keeps the pins aligned on inclined planes, and slick and loose surfaces are not a problem anymore because now you're moving the axles pulling against the trailer deck, which is fixed in space. Concerns that we wanted to keep in mind when designing this mechanism was it's going to add another failure point to the trailer, something else that can break. It adds another place where maintenance has to be performed, and it complicates a relatively simple design as it is. So we kept those in mind in making our design decisions. Go over these constraints that we set out and some of the design ideas that we had and how we selected them. So quick reminder, right down here we've got this 45 seconds, so we have a 60-second total runtime, 15 seconds for the pins, leaves us 45 seconds for the drive mechanism. That's what the 45 seconds is. Has to be bypassable, so if it breaks, we can quickly disengage it and use the trailer normally, the way it was designed. Driven by a 12-volt source, no welding during install, operated by remote control, keep the total kit cost under $1,000. And a really important one is keeping the center of gravity of the trailer, because the trailer has some really neat features that are dependent on that center of gravity, the location of it. So hydraulic rams, rack gears didn't fit into one or more of these constraints. Hydraulics are heavy. They mess with where the location of that center of gravity is. Rack gears are expensive, and we have to design. And the deck and the frame don't move at the same angle with respect to each other, so it'd be hard to keep the gear in contact with to keep the two gears in contact with each other. A winch drive and a chain drive were selected and fit the constraints. Double spooled winch, meaning we've got 2 cables on the winch. Straps actually is what we're using now. 2 straps on the winch. As one's pulling, the other one is being let out, and then you can switch directions, and as the other one is pulling, that previous one is now being let out. So your winch actually works kind of like a push-pull system in a sense. So advantages and disadvantages to both of these. The chain drive, we have to design every component of it, so we have to put together like a gearbox, size of motor, chains and external bearings and the tensioners and those kinds of things all require lubrication and maintenance over time. The double spooled winch, however, winches are commercially available. They have published load capacities and speeds, so they've already been qualified. We the safety factor. Minimal maintenance, if any, in the winch itself. Spooling two cables is a little bit difficult, but we got that issue resolved after talking to and looking around the industry to see how people were doing some of that stuff. And one big thing that we learned is that not all winches function in and out. Some winches have a braking mechanism, and cheap winches do not. So doing a best of class comparison here like we did in the last presentation, we can see that our durability of our winch has been tried and tested. We're using a well-known leading manufacturer of winches, Warn. The current draw is very, very small compared to what we predict we might be able to do with a chain drive. Speed would probably be about the same between the two. Ease of installation would be about the same. And then off-the-shelf parts, the winch is just a unit. You can buy it. The chain drive, we have a motor, some gearbox that we put together, some chain tensioners that we've had to build, etc. So we went with the double spooled winch. Now, at this point, we only had an estimation of how much force it takes to actually move the axles as they slide underneath the deck from a rolled back position to a loaded, ready to tow position. And so to test this and figure out how much force we needed, we took an 8,000-pound winch, which our sponsor had lying around, mounted on a cradle. We hooked it from the ceiling and we did a vertical lifting test with known loads. So from 20 pounds up to about 1,600 pounds, we were able to measure the line speed and the motor current. As we found in this data, there's a very linear relationship between the load in the line, so the load that you're lifting, and the motor current. We were able to plot those are the asterisks, and then do just a linear line fit between the asterisks. And with that, we were able to now take that winch and fix it in place to pull the axles underneath the trailer deck back into the loaded position. And so we did that with the empty deck, a 3,800-pound load, and a 7,000-pound load. And we were able to measure the current in that test, and then plot the current versus the linear fit line, which then we can make a very educated guess on where the actual force is required to move the axles under the trailer deck. The max capacity, load capacity of the trailer is 5,300 pounds, due to the deck weighing already 1,700 pounds, for a total of 7,000. So at 5,300 pounds, it would take about 1,000 pounds of force to pull the axles into the position where they need to be able to start driving away with the trailer. So we designed our system around that 1,000 pounds. Our design factor, we chose a design factor of 3. That was based off of ASME below the hook. Well, the American Institute of Steel Construction uses a safety factor of 3 for members in tension. And so we figured that safety factor of 3 was probably a good design for us as well, since these are members in tension. ASME, and then what we learned is ASME for below the hook lifting uses a safety factor of 5 in all of their stuff. So if you buy, per se, a 1,000-pound clevis pin, it's good for 5,000 pounds braking. So we were able to use that safety factor of 5 through the ASME products and create a design factor of 3 in all of our components, hooking the winch, from the winch to the trailer deck. So clevis pins, turnbuckles, eye bolts, etc. And then we were able to determine a minimum pin diameter based off of that. With the minimum pin diameter, we were able to do some bearing stress calculations and some shear stress calculations to figure out minimum thickness of our clevis pins and our anchor points, and the distance from the leading edge of those, the clevis or the anchor point, to the hole where the pin would be going through. And then we were able to design with that same factor of 3, design around those constraints. So we've designed a compression spring tensioner that allows for change in length of the cable from front to rear, because there's a little bit of variance there. It also prevents shock loads in the winch, which is critical, because shock loads, winches do not withstand shock loads, you'll break them. So that eliminates any of the shock load that can happen there. You get a little bit of movement in where the pins latch the deck to the frame, and so that eliminates that shock load in the winch. It also keeps the tension in the strap at all times. The winch mount is a plate that wraps around structural members of the axle frame, and then U-bolts fasten it around the axle itself. The winch mounts on top of that plate. It's made out of 3/16 inch mild steel, which is the industry size for winch mounts for ATV winches, up to 4,500 pounds. We're using 1-inch strap, which is been rated at 5,000 pounds, so well within our design factor of 3, actually a little bit better. Anchor points, 3/16 mild steel, they attach to the D-rings, which are rated at 6,000 pounds, and then they transfer the force into structural members of the trailer deck. So we've tested, so we've got the prototype in place, we've tested it, we did a no-load test, so pulling the empty trailer deck forward, measured the current and the load, which we can measure with scales. And then we did a 3,800 pound test and measured the current versus the load. Plotted that, did the same line fit for current versus load, as we found that it's a pretty linear relationship. And we're able to extrapolate from that where we would be at 5,300 pounds, since we didn't have a 5,300 pound vehicle available for testing. So we can see that we're going to come in at about 153 amps if we were doing 5,300 pound load, which is the max carrying capacity, versus the 200, which was the metric, the overall goal, and that was a metric determined by us. You know, how much capacity, how much amperage we wanted on the system. Time was that 45-second mark, and it's able to do it in about 20 seconds. The test that we actually ran, you can see the data up here, and then we had to do a little bit of extrapolation to get to that 5,300. Budget, we're still currently under budget by about the same amount. The new deck pin mechanism is a little bit cheaper than the old scissor mechanism, which offset the cost a little bit of the more expensive winch. Future milestones, where we're going. First, I want to point out there's a little typo right here. That should have said March 10th from the beginning of the semester. So on your sheet, it says February. We weren't anticipating doing that in February. The trailer is unavailable for the week of March 10th to about the 13th. So we'll get it back from Powder Coat. They're refinishing the trailer. We're helping them do that. So we should have it back from Powder Coat by about the 20th, which will give us, which caused us to revise this date here for the installation of the onboard automated controls. So that'll go in by March 24th. March 31st for the final wiring harnesses. That's going to tie everything together, limit switches, the 3 subsystems, and then give us a week to do actual testing, where we put different loads on the trailer and go try loading and unloading in different scenarios around town, maybe out, and find some dirt roads where we can get some uneven surfaces, and those 3 different circumstances that we talked about in the presentation. So just summary, tongue pin mechanism, our first subsystem is done. Deck pin mechanism is mostly done. The prototype works great, so we need to refine that a little bit and get it all dialed in. But it's within our metrics and functions fantastic. Deck movement mechanism also within our metrics and is functioning fantastic. Need to refine the brackets and things. We just kind of have some handmade brackets in there now for the anchor points, and make those look a little prettier. We're still on track to have that buffer that we talked about in the previous presentation, and now to be able to test and deal with any issues that we might have before design day. And moving on, we're doing our wiring. The full integration of the kit is the next step here. And so we're just about there. All right, now, I know you have questions.